Alright guys, for the first gun we are using the MAC-10. I like using the MAC-10 a lot because it has a really low amount of recoil. It also has a high ammo capacity, so that's really good. And also with the right attachments, it has some really good mobility and multiple different variants with actually some really good iron sights on it. Now let's check out the MAC-10 setup that I use. Alright guys, so for the first attachment here on this MAC-10, we're going to be running this sound suppressor. Like it says, we're going to be getting some sound suppression, some aimed on sight speed, some bullet velocity, and some sprint to fire speed. Now the only reason I'm not running this agency suppressor compared to this sound suppressor here is because the sound suppressor is going to be giving us some aimed on sight speed and some sprint to fire speed compared to the agency suppressor, which is just going to give us some vertical recoil control and effective damage range, which is not really going to matter too much on the MAC-10, as we're of course going to be using this as an SMG, and we're going to be wanting to use this gun as up close as possible. So that's exactly where the sound suppressor comes in. Alright guys, now for the barrel, there's multiple different barrels that you guys can run with here, but for me, I decided to go with this 5.9 inch task force barrel for some effective damage range, the bullet velocity, and the strafe speed. And of course, that main thing here is that strafe speed. We're going to be able to outplay people a lot easier with that. For the laser sight, guys, I decided to go with the Tiger Team Spotlight for some increased movement speed and aim walking movement speed as well. Now, personally, guys, I do not run an underbarrel on here, but if you guys find that this gun has too much recoil, then I recommend running the Field Agent grip or the foregrip, whichever one you have unlocked. And for the stock, guys, I decided to go for this no stock to increase our sprint to fire time as much as possible, and as well increase that mobility as much as possible. Alright guys, for the magazine, I decided to go with the 53 round drum mag. Please, like I said on the last gun, do not run the 53 round fast mag. It's just going to be lowering your aim down sight time way too much, and you're just not going to be winning as many gunfights as you should be. Now for the first AR, guys, we are checking out this Cold War AK-47. This AK actually has really good TTK if you guys don't know and you guys haven't tried it out. It does have some recoil, but it's pretty controllable, and it actually has some very good mobility for an AR. And yeah, let's check out the class setup for it. And okay guys, for this Cold War AK-47, the first attachment here we're going to be running is this GRU suppressor, of course. We're not going to be running the suppressor just because it's not going to help us as much as this GRU suppressor is actually going to help us. And so for the GRU suppressor, we're going to be getting some sound suppression, bullet velocity, vertical recoil control, and some effective damage range. So I highly recommend that you guys try this attachment out. Now for the barrel, guys, we decided to go with this 20-inch Spetsnaz RPK barrel. We're going to be getting some bullet velocity, some horizontal recoil control, some effective damage range, and some vertical recoil control from this as well. And now because this AK does have a lot of kick, guys, we're going to be running the Spetsnaz grip for some increased horizontal recoil control and some vertical recoil control as well. Now for the magazine, you guys can either run the 45 round drum mag or you can run the 60 round mag, but please just do not run the 60 round fast mag, as it's going to be lowering your aim down sight time way too much, and you guys, it's going to literally take like a second or a second and a half just to aim in the gun. So I highly recommend just running this 60 round drum mag or the 45 round drum mag. And now for the optic sight, guys, we're going to be running this Axel Arms 3x scope. You guys can run a different optic on here, of course, but the Axel Arms 3x scope for me is pretty much just the clearest and easiest sight to use, and I really don't think there's any other sight on here that's better. Maybe the Microflex LED, but then you can't shoot people as far as you can with the Axel Arms 3x scope. So yeah, I think this is pretty much the most well-rounded scope on here. For the next AR on here, guys, we're going to be using this Cold War XM4. Now this XM4 actually has some really low recoil, and pair that up with the good TTK that it actually has, it makes it for a really good weapon to use in Warzone. It also has some really good mobility to add on top of that, so if you guys need to run out of a situation and you don't have your secondary out, this gun actually has some decent mobility, so you'd probably be able to get out of there. Alright guys, so for the first attachment on the XM4 here, we're of course going to be running this agency suppressor over the suppressor. We're going to be getting some sound suppression, some vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range, which is definitely going to help us a lot more than what the suppressor would give us. Now for the barrel, guys, we're going to be running this task force barrel. We're going to be getting some bullet velocity, some horizontal recoil control, some effective damage range, and some vertical recoil control, which is all going to help. Literally every single thing on here is going to help us. For the optic, guys, like I said on the AK, we're going to be running this Axel Arms 3x scope. I just love how clear it is and easy it is to see people, and the recoil is very easy to control. So I definitely recommend you guys run the Axel Arms 3x scope. Now for the magazine, guys, I'm running the 45 round drum mag. You guys can run the 60 round mag if you guys want, but it does take away from your aim down sight time a little bit. And of course, like I said on the other ones, do not run the 60 round fast mag. It's just going to be taking away from your aim down sight time way too much compared to the 60 round mag or the 45 round mag. And this XM4 does have a little bit of recoil, so we are going to be throwing on this Field Agent grip to combat that a little bit. We're going to get some horizontal and some vertical recoil control from this. And the next gun is actually going to be the Modern Warfare MP5, guys. This gun has a really good ammo capacity, as well as some really good hip fire if you haven't used it. It has some pretty good mobility. You guys are actually able to run around pretty quickly with this gun, and it pretty much has like some non-existent recoil. So you guys are definitely going to want to use this Modern Warfare MP5. And yeah, let's get right into the setup. And alright guys, so for our first attachment on this Modern Warfare MP5, I personally like running this monolithic integral suppressor for some sound suppression and some bullet velocity. You guys can run the subsonic integral suppressor or just the normal monolithic suppressor on here. But please just don't run the lightweight suppressor or the tactical suppressor. Those are going to hurt you rather than help you. So if you guys are going to use something from the muzzle section, just run the monolithic suppressor. All right, for the laser sight, guys, I'm going to be running this 1 MW laser sight. I will throw on the 5 MW laser sight here and there, but you know, playing Rebirth, your laser's visible to enemies, and you're just going to be running into people nonstop, and people are going to know where you are all the time. So that's why I like running just the normal 1 MW laser sight, so people don't know exactly where I am, but I still get that added hipfire accuracy and a laser sight. Alright guys, so for the underbarrel, there's multiple different grips that you guys can choose from, but personally I decided to go with this Merc foregrip for some added recoil control and hipfire accuracy. This Modern Warfare MP5 already has a really good hipfire accuracy, but adding this attachment on it just makes it even better, and you guys pretty much don't miss any shots if they're within like 5 meters, as you guys will see. Alright guys, so for the magazine, we only have 2 options here on this Modern Warfare MP5. We're going to be either running this 45 round mag or this 30 round mag, and you guys could try out the 30 round mag for some added damage and range, but I don't really like it on Rebirth Island compared to the 45 round mag, just because there's going to be people all the time, and I like, you know, being able to reload very quickly and having 45 rounds compared to 30. Alright guys, so for the last attachment on here will actually be a perk. We're going to be running sleight of hand so that we can actually reload as quickly as possible with this gun. And alright guys, for our final weapon, we're going to be using this Cold War MP5. This gun does have some high recoil, but it's actually pretty controllable if you guys put on the right attachments. It has a very, very good TTK and a very fast mobility. It's also got a pretty decent hip fire, and the iron sights are not very bad. So if you guys really haven't used this Cold War MP5, then I definitely recommend you guys trying out the class setup that I'm going to give to you right now. Alright guys, so for this first attachment on this Cold War MP5, we're going to be running this agency suppressor. As you guys can see here, we're going to be getting some sound suppression, some vertical recoil control, some bullet velocity, and some effective damage range. Now we're going to be using this attachment over the sound suppressor just because the sound suppressor isn't going to be helping us as much as this agency suppressor is going to be helping us. And now for the second attachment, guys, we're going to be running the Tiger Team Spotlight on this Cold War MP5. Like it shows, we're going to be getting some movement speed and some aim walking movement speed. And if you guys have not used this attachment on this Cold War MP5, it really does help a lot, so I definitely recommend you guys try it out. Alright guys, now for the stock, there's multiple different stocks you guys can run here, as you guys can see. A lot of people run the Raider stock on here for some increased ADS firing move speed, aim walking movement speed, and sprint to fire time. But personally, I like running the no stock for as much sprint to fire time increase as possible, and as much mobility as possible. As you guys can see down at the chart here, the mobility is maxed as compared to the Raider stock where it's not as maxed as possible. For my underbarrel, guys, I decided to run the Bruiser grip for some increased movement speed and hipfire accuracy. Now you don't have to run the Bruiser grip. To be honest, I just like running it. So if you guys feel like this the recoil is too much on this gun, then I highly recommend you try out the Field Agent grip, because it's going to be lowering your vertical and your horizontal recoil control. And if you guys aren't ranked up high enough for this Field Agent grip, then you guys could always run just the foregrip for some horizontal recoil control. And for the magazine here, guys, we're going to be running the standard 50 round drum mag. Please do not run this 50 round fast mag, as your aim down sight time is just going to be way too slow, and you guys are not going to be able to win like that many gunfights at all. And yeah guys, I really hope that these class setups helped you out. If they did help you out in any way, please leave a like on the video, and also if you guys are new, subscribe to the channel. And yeah guys, I'll see you in the next video.